Hey there, everyone, and welcome to another astrology video. This week, I want to share with you some ideas around some of the upcoming energy, which is the full moon in Gemini, one of my favorite lunations each year. And then, of course, we have Venus conjoined the South Node at 24 Libra. So that's the astrology of next week. And I want to give you a little bit of a heads up because this weekend is really going to be flavored by that astrology. So before we get there, I just want to share with you all that yes, I am having a Black Friday sale, and yes, it's now live. So if you use the code BF2023, that will invite you to take a discount on any of the readings that I offer on my website, as well as recorded webinars and trainings. So there's a whole bunch of different topic-specific areas of astrology. If you want to brush up on some of your knowledge or learn something new, there's a whole range of topics there for you to explore. And I'll put links below in the description where you can access some of those trainings. So the code again is BF2023, and that will be active until Tuesday, the 28th. Alrighty, the Gemini full moon. So the Gemini full moon each year is usually sort of November, December, late November, December, and it really does tend to be a peak in the social, busy, buzzing vibe that really permeates the end of the year. I'm not sure about other places, but in Australia, it's the end of the school year coming up. We really shut down a fair amount, from Christmas and in through January. This is our summer. So this is our sort of wind down time. And before we get to wind down time, it's really wind up time. And the Gemini full moon, yes, it's the full one, really does signify that. So, there's this buzz in the air, a busyness. What are you doing? Where are you going? Let's do this. Like all of those kind of socializing, logistical details and data is really important leading up to this full moon. It's electric. It's a buzz with social energy, chit chat and gossip and curiosity, and that sharing of information either online or in real life. You might be planning parties, organizing parties, writing shopping lists, Kris Kringle things, or, the whole variety of things that happen at this time of year. As I mentioned, in Australia, we are, winding up the school year real soon. So there's a lot of busyness around that. The Christmas concerts or the end of year celebrations for all of the kids, of course, if you're a parent. And there's also a real reflective quality. A part of this social buzz and these celebrations is to spend time with people, reflect on the year, talk about the goals lying ahead. And you start to see this in the online space where people are really starting to count down and kind of go, don't throw your goals, out the window. You can still make some really a lot of progress before the year is out. And I think the astrology of this full moon really does speak to a lot of that. However, there's a little bit of there's a couple of catches. And so I just want to break down that a little bit with you by sharing the chart. So this lunation happens on Monday, the 27th in all of the time zones. And of course, that also will symbolize it will also symbolize the fact that the weekend, sort of Friday, Saturday, Sunday is, really kind of building up this energy. So this last weekend of November is probably one of the peak social periods, astrologically speaking. So it's a full moon in Gemini at 4 degrees. And so to break down some of the astrology of that, there's a few things to do. So one thing, obviously, the sun is opposite the lunation. It's, the full moon, so the sun opposite the moon. We can also see that the Mars and the sun are still really close together. Last week was the Cazimi at 25 of Scorpio. I did miss last week's video. That Cazimi smashed me. I am having a Mars perfection myself. So I went underground for a touch there. If you had any Mars Cazimi experiences, I'd love to hear them. But Mars is, yes, on the sort of newer side, or perhaps you could describe that as the waxing side of the sun. That being said, though, it's still invisible, it's still combust. And so when it comes to, smashing those proverbial goals before the new year, well, you may not really know what you want to do with that. You might be inspired and reinvigorated like a soldier fresh out of recruiting camp, you know what I mean? Ready for a battle, but just not knowing what they want to do or where they're going. So it's kind of this idea that the sword's not sharp yet, still kind of grinding away on the stone, or particularly as it's just squared Saturn. Maybe it's not sharp enough yet. You're trying to still figure out what, that passion or that purpose is as a part of the Mars cycle. So, Mars is still opposite the moon. So I still think it's very much implicated as a part of this lunation. But the hotspot stuff really is Mercury. Okay. Mercury is the ruler of this lunation at 24 degrees of Sagittarius. And so I'm a fan of Mercury in Sagittarius. I'm not going to lie. I'm a fan of Mercury in fire signs as a general rule. Particularly Sag, it's a truth teller. It pulls no punches. It's it's that good storyteller, not letting the truth get in the way of a good story. It's not politically correct. It's not your type. And that really does make it a little reckless, a bit of a wild card factor in there. Traditionally, Mercury in Sagittarius is considered to be in detriment. And that means it's not bad. It means it's just simply in detriment to the function that Mercury is trying to do. So, Mercury is details, data. Okay, what parties are you going to this weekend? What are you wearing? What are you bringing? Who are you buying who for a present? Or, all of the calendaral and logistical components to a busy full moon in Gemini. Whereas Mercury in Sag is more likely to say, oh, just, wear whatever you want or bring whoever you want or what have you. It's not really so much into the details. In the flavor of this time of year and the flavor of the full moon, it's a bit more of a the merrier kind of vibe. Mercury in Sag as its own entity, it's Sagittarius. It's that mutable fire. It's a wild card. It is a bit of a maverick energy and hard to tie down. So you might experience under this full moon that some logistical issues are hard to tie down. Like, what time did you say this party is meant to be starting, kind of thing? Or, who's going? It's hard to lock down those details. Mercury in Sagittarius can also it's like the mic drop placement, it's going to tell you the truth. It's going to be honest how it sees it, even if it upsets the apple cart a little bit. And I think that really feeds into a little bit of the Venus South Node component, which I'll circle back to in a minute. So when we look, I'll just share the screen once again. When we look to what Mercury is doing, it's also squaring Neptune, super tight, same degree. It's that applying aspect to Neptune. And so in some ways, this weekend is most likely going to have a bit of a mini Mercury retrograde type of vibe to it. You can expect that you're going to get the details wrong, that the communication is going to misfire. Someone is going to drop a truth bomb and it's going to be a source of confusion. I've spoken, if you follow me on other social medias, I share my weekly horoscope column out there. And I've been talking about, truth bombs and truth telling as a part of the Sagittarius cycle. I think this full moon is definitely going to sort of really spotlight some of that stuff. The confusion, what's true, what's not. It really depends on what side of things that you're on or what your beliefs already are, and if you can face some cognitive dissonance. Can you hold multiple truths at once and they can still all be true? People are having trouble with that these days. So you might get a little bit of confusion, whether that's, things that are people saying, where you're meant to be, where you're meant to go. When Mercury squares Neptune, it's really like a massive, brain belch or brain fart. Like you're tired, you're fatigued, you can't be bothered. And so despite best intentions, you may not just really be in the mood to party or to do those things that you said you would do this weekend. Instead of smashing those goals and thinking, there's 4 or 5 weeks left of the year, I'm going to go all in. Maybe it's just like realizing maybe the most productive thing I can do for myself this weekend is a whole lot of nothing. Maybe it's chilling out. Maybe it's resting. Maybe it's doing something that is more, what's the word? Like, not maybe nourishing, but more resetting or restful for the mind, because there's a bit of a frenetic energy with this. It's a full moon in Gemini. We've got the ruler in detriment squaring Neptune. Like, it's super messy. So when that is the case, maybe there's a less is more approach. Maybe choose 1 or 2 things you'd really like to do or really like to tackle under this lunation energy, and don't kind of buy into the idea that you can do all the things. I mean, you can, but you might get things a little bit messy or messed up. So there is that fatigue component there too. Foot in mouth. I mean, Sag is not afraid to tell it how it is. And I know my dad, he's got a Sag stellium and Mercury being one. And one thing I've always said about him is that he'll tell you everything he knows, and whatever he doesn't know, he'll make up as he goes along. So, don't let the truth get in the way of a good story. And so that's where things can get a little unstuck this weekend, whether it's in real life or it's online. Question. Do your own research, as everyone says now. Feel your way into the facts. Does it feel right? Does it feel truthful for you? As I said, Mercury in Sag is not politically correct. So, there's going to be some mic drops and truth bombs this weekend. I mean, I'm here for that stuff. Not everybody is, but, spilling the tea, whether you are here that tea or whether you are the spiller, you can be prepared for that. So why am I taking that angle rather than just this whole mini Mercury retrograde kind of vibe with the square to Neptune? Reason being is that this particular position of Mercury, the ruler of this lunation, is 24 degrees, and that will be the degree that the Venus South Node conjunction takes place on the 29th. Now, when we look at Mercury in Sag, it's looking to Jupiter that is in Taurus, in Venus's sign. There's also an aspect, there's a sextile to that. So there is a definite feedback loop with the Venus South Node component. So, the things that happen under the lunation on the, over the weekend, the 27th, could have some kind of repercussions potentially when it comes to diplomacy, when it comes to peace, when it comes to harmony, when it comes to the relationships that you really value. When truth comes out, questions get asked, right? So this could stretch a friendship if you are flying off the handle, saying too much, if you're saying what you really think, not thinking about how things might look, how things might appear to other people. There's definitely some potential to that. As I said, Mercury in Sag doesn't pull any punches. It doesn't care who it offends. Venus in Libra wants things to look nice. And so sometimes when things no longer look nice, the energy of Libra has to look inside itself and go, wow, like, was I just liking the idea of the thing, or was the thing actually a good thing to begin with? So this might go through that purifying process of what is peace and what is diplomacy and what is the nature of a particular relationship to something or someone when that kind of messy truth gets spilled. So there's a fair bit of astro tea that can be spilled this weekend. I'd love to hear some of your thoughts on this lunation. Have some of the ideas that I've expressed come to pass already? Are you how are you feeling? Like we're in intense times, and I think this full moon can really sort of spotlight some of that. What is truth? What are the details? What's being fudged, or what's being a little bit blurred or confused? And then what does that mean for the things, the people, the situations that you hold dear? There is a bit of a pulling apart of relationships as a part of this full moon. So again, just to remind you that, yep, my Black Friday sale is on. And if you would like to enjoy 20% off just for this weekend through until Tuesday, the code is BF2023. So it's really great to see you all again. If you like this video, do feel free to subscribe, leave a comment, share with an astro friend. And I'd love to see you when I'm back next time. See you later and happy full moon.